Everybody that comes into my office that I work with, I start with the same thing, and it's the same thing that we started with together. And that is to deepen your understanding of essential insight of psychology and brain science. And that is that the thoughts that are flowing through your mind, what I call your inner dialogue, this is the conversation that takes place in your head 24/7. This is the story of your life, and this is going on all the time for all of us. Whether you recognize it, you're conscious of it and listening to it, or you're not, it's occurring. Now the central insight is that this inner dialogue is doing a couple things to you. Number one, every moment that you have it, it is dictating your emotional experience, so your experience of life. It's shifting your emotional life. And number two, every thought that you have is shifting your brain. It's physically changing your brain to become more in alignment with that sequence of thoughts. And as you deepen your awareness of the implications of that reality, you see that the thought processes that I'm having right now, that I'm having today, are the seeds of how my mind is going to work tomorrow. So if I'm having positive thoughts today, the way the brain works, because the brain networks are strengthening when you have it, they're going to reproduce not that exact sequence of thoughts, but a very similar sequence of thoughts. And as you really, that's one step deeper, right? Take one more step, zoom in to the implications of this brain science, and you see, if I want to live deeply in love in my life, if I want to live at peace, if I want to perform at my best, then I need to know very consistently what's flowing through my mind, because that is literally the seeds that are being planted and watering to produce your tomorrow, whether it's to achieve your goal or all of the steps that you need to take between now and achieving your goal. So I like to take a deep dive into that, to become a Roger Federer life athlete that's not just the best tennis player of all time. It's coming into this recognition that the way you're living your life is influencing how you're performing in your specific sport, or your specific, whatever your goal is, if it's a professional goal, if it's a personal goal. I say this because just like if you have a coach in your sport, they're always reminding you of the fundamentals, because without the fundamentals, you can't really flower into the athlete that you want to be. Same thing with being a musician. If you don't know the scales and you don't repetitively practice them, you can't become super creative. You can't own the instrument. We're talking about owning the instrument of you, right? And I really harp on this because to me, it's not just everyone who comes to my office acknowledges, yes, I understand I have an inner dialogue, and I understand that influences my experience. But there's a whole continuum of understanding the implications of what that means. And the more deeply that you embody that understanding, the more powerful mind exercises become.